Oh, festival, I was young and I am still young. What happened? I take it like an adventure. Like I take everything in my life the same way. If you say at the middle of the night, let's go to the travel to another country, I was ready, and everything was an adventure.
Fernando y yo tenemos una larga historia de colaboración. A mí me tocó trabajar con Fernando desde allá en 1973, yo todavía estaba en la escuela, y empecé a trabajar con Fernando en el tema ya de TV Answer. Me dediqué con él a apoyarlo en el diseño de los prototipos.
When my lawyer called me and said, oh, your patent was granted, I said, next stop is the adventure continue.
Lo que vamos a ver a continuación es un resumen de algunas de las posibilidades de uso generalizado de telerespuesta en la programación de la televisión comercial.
First came TV, it was one way. Then came TV Answer, so you could respond to your TV at any level. Could you talk back to a medium that talked to you? And that's what Fernando brought to the table, talking back to your TV.
I will handle this job and the other with no problem, because the expectation of conquer something in the adventure move you beyond any type of reasoning that say, oh, we'll be scared. Well, I was never scared, but it was not the time for that. My wife worked in another campus, pero in the same organization. He said, go ahead, it's your dream. Assuming that will be one trip and start being 1 week there, and I need to hire the first employees from a hotel and start a corporation, etc. And I have an office in the tech, in another place in Mexico, and travel a lot. And one day you say, no, this is impractical. We need to have a place, a bigger place, rent a big house and live in the same place. And after that, my wife said, well, I will not let you be there alone all year, and get a license and start a life in the United States.
En el 88 ya me voy yo con Fernando a Estados Unidos. No podría decir que era el Chief Operating Officer, pero casi. Pero yo era el operador, o sea, yo era el que me encargaba de que hoy la caja esté, y que jale, y sintonizarla.
The software and hardware that make TV Answer work so smoothly are developed here at our headquarters. From on-air programming for subscribers to new software applications to improve chip technology used in the assembly of the TV Answer box.
Después hicimos el diseño de la caja con slots para poner tarjetas, y pues a mí me tocó mucho del diseño mecánico.
The unit has the capacity for more memory to take on more tasks.
Has de haber visto por ahí el joystick, que es una pistola.
Consumers will have repeated chances to sample TV Answer technology, working the joystick trigger to see and use the world of interactive services.
Entonces, básicamente, yo lo diseñé, todo ese proyecto de hacerlo en arcilla primero y luego hacerlo la primera versión en plástico. Es más, si ves el video ahí de las bolitas esas que van viajando, que sale el primer, ese es un prototipo que hicimos fake, ¿verdad? O sea, plástico, y le insertamos un joystick, pero pues así hicimos muchas cosas.
So it was Fernando, me, and other people, and it was a small office near Tyson's Corner. At the beginning, it was different.
It was whatever project came to your door, the one that you had to handle that day. It was a completely different company in terms of that from the American company that I have experienced ever since.
I wouldn't say frustrating, but it was very challenging to see that the business model would change. So having a startup, a high-tech startup, was not very common.
Being involved in a startup business, to be honest with you, if you're getting paid a salary, you don't have a lot of risk. You go get another job, okay? Fernando, he was totally invested in this enterprise, and he never wanted a job. He wanted, his job was his dream, and that was what he was doing. You know, he was the architect, he was the creator, he was the genius, he was the generator, and everybody else, including us, were kind of hanging on the sidelines waiting for his next word so we could each play our respective roles. He sat there like the captain in a high chair in the middle of the room, and we'd be along this big boardroom table, and we would watch him change the numbers on the Excel spreadsheet.
There was a dynamic sense in Fernando to say, this doesn't work. We would joke that he was on vacation and he would go to the beach, and then when he was coming back, it was like thousands of ideas coming your way.
What could come out of Fernando's head could come out of no one else's head. I never knew that I was going to make money, but I did it because I really liked it.
There is something different about a startup than there is about a company that you're just a cog in the machinery. I went to Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. And then when I graduated from college, I came back home to DC. My introduction to TV Answer was the production side of it. For me, it was perfect. It was right in line with a Black girl from DC. That's my kind of project.
Johnny pulls me into his office one day and tells me that they would like to do this live interactive television show. So I said, oh, okay. So I guess you want me to round up some auditions. And he said, well, no, I was kind of hoping you might want to do it. And I was like, me? Okay. Who doesn't want to have their own television shows? Of course, it was a dream for me. I loved it. I connected immediately.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. That's the Interactive Jukebox House Band here in the studio. Good evening and welcome. My name is Joni B, and we've got a great show for you.
People didn't know what it was because, you know, we didn't want to use the phone. You know, we wanted people to be able to do that right from their television sets, right? And vote right there using your remote control. You know, we were dreaming big, and so they just really didn't know what it was.
You're at TV Answer, channel 51, coming to you live from the studios here in beautiful downtown McLean, Virginia.
Joni Burler was Video Jukebox. She communicated with the audience based on their responses.
The TV Answer system has already tabulated your vote and incorporated this into the bar chart. You are watching real-time interactive television.
There would frequently be the same people every night. And with the response, not only could she get the tabulation for which one got the most votes, but she saw who actually voted. So she was speaking to the people individually. We had fun. We had a lot of fun.
After Interactive Jukebox, which was really a proof of concept, now we had a graphical user interface.
For the next few minutes, I'd like to introduce you to the next generation of television, a new entertainment and information technology designed to simplify TV viewing and add an exciting dimension to home TV entertainment. While you're watching the commercial, just click the trigger and your order form appears. All you have to do is enter your personal identification number, your PIN code, which authorizes your payment. Your order, along with your name, address, and payment selection, is handled instantly and accurately. You don't have to write down the number or pick up the phone.
We needed to start making some apps.
We did Takeout Taxi. Takeout Taxi was like Grubhub today. They could place the order through the screen and then the food would be delivered to the person's house.
Fernando has that idea to try to promote food delivery, and that was one of the avenues of the many applications that he had.
And that's only the proof that it could exist. But when we were at the beginning at TV Answer, there was no commercial internet of any kind.
En 1988, que andábamos haciendo esto, no existía el internet. O sea, no existía comercialmente el internet. A lo mejor ya existía en los laboratorios de las universidades, pero públicamente no existía.
And the internet at the beginning was for many, many other things. Computers and bulletin boards. And it was not even graphical. The World Wide Web did not exist. It was a Unix machine talking to another Unix machine using TCP/IP. It did not touch the television until much later.
The advancement and the progression of the technology dictated what the company needed next.
Cuando fuimos al Capitolio, o sea, hicimos booths donde cada uno de los congresistas podía agarrar el joystick y mover el joystick en la pantalla y hacer home shopping, ordenar pizzas, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera.
The demo booths will be housed at retail locations throughout the U.S., typically at a 7-Eleven or other neighborhood store. Just such a research booth is scheduled for National Place, a popular mall in the heart of Washington, D.C.'s business district. Demo booths like these will get consumers to participate in TV Answer technology, catch the excitement of the system, and subscribe.
Se empezó a burlar de nosotros, decían, espérame, pues un ATM, pues si yo quiero $50, pues que me dé los $50, cabrón. Y entonces nosotros le decíamos, bueno, pues pícale, cabrón, a ver qué pasa. Entonces le picaban al ATM y ponían ahí claves y, digo, era ficticio, ¿verdad? Era realmente un pinche demo. Y luego cuando tú le picabas, mándame el dinero, llegaba un cabrón y tocaba la puerta vestido de Domino's Pizza y decía, ¿quién pidió $50? ¡Ah, la chica! O sea,
the space that we were dealing with was how to get close to someone who was doing business in the market. And that someone at the time was the cable companies.
The TV Answer, the electronic town hall, becomes a reality. Consumers experience the secure convenience of home banking and instant bill pay. As a marketing tool, the opportunities are unlimited.
TV Answer is the next logical step in direct response.
We're so excited at Domino's Pizza about being part of the boutique of companies across America who are part of TV Answer's new electronic marketplace.
From coast to coast and town to town, a national network of interconnectivity. The electronic marketplace. TV Answer.
I do remember at that time in the industry, the cable companies would go all out on their booths. CBS, ABC, Discovery, all of these big name MSOs and cable channels. I had never been to anything like that. There were celebrities everywhere, so it was very, very exciting.
Hicimos ahí la sombra de Nueva York y teníamos una mesa que daba vuelta. No sé si has visto la película Tócate. Bueno, esto es lo mismo, güey, era puro pinche show. Estábamos el día anterior, güey, no jalaba nada, cabrón, y estábamos con la nervio de qué vamos a hacer ahora. Es más, en ese show regalamos unas cajas que era una simulación de un TV Answer que ni existía, güey, con antenita y todo puesta, ¿verdad? Y entonces había una mesa que estaba dando vueltas y las cajas estas, y entonces la gente pasaba y agarraba una y se la llevaba, ¿verdad? Era para eso. Pero pues sí, ahí fue el primer show que realmente hizo que mucha gente nos volteara a ver.
We raised an awareness campaign of something new coming in order to bring the partners required by the FCC to support this before allocation of spectrum will be created, to open a rulemaking that everybody needs to participate. In order to do that, we spend millions of dollars in ads, PR, in everything that you can imagine or that I can handle or conquer with my broken English. That in itself is the first multiplier effect, because now everybody, Wall Street Journal, pages of ads, how the television can become an instrument that you can touch and go and send email, get money from the bank, order a pizza, all this stuff that you can visualize in an ad, but was everywhere. Millions of copies in the right hands. All the guys that invest in the United States, all the guys that are afraid to invest in risky companies, first of all start thinking, how this guy from another country, broken English, can be spending $100 million in something that is not even allowed by law, because the FCC need to rule this.
The frequency that we were trying to have allocated was close to channel 13. So the FCC had a lot of tests where we had to convince them that it didn't cause interference with that spectrum.
Entonces, si tú me dices, por diseño, ya podíamos jalar. La que estaba medio complicada era el tema de la radiofrecuencia. Y ahí había varias hipótesis, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros teníamos un diseño que es el que habíamos probado con la torre y que se decíamos, oye, ya funciona. Y ahí empezamos ya con sueños de decir, oye, imagínate esto en un Super Bowl, cabrón, donde tú preguntes un anuncio, ¿verdad? Y cobres $1 por cada respuesta. Podíamos hasta rifar, más, podíamos rifar un Mercedes-Benz, cabrón, en cada anuncio, güey. Y sacar una pinche fortuna, ¿verdad?
Our third item concerns the adoption of rules for a new interactive video service, which has been called TV Answer.
This item is a joint item done in conjunction with the Private Radio Bureau.
We believe that an interactive video and data service would extend similar capabilities to television viewers and would provide significant benefits to the public.
Mr. Quello.
Commenters should address the potential Channel 13 interference that seems to be with us all the time.
Mr. Marshall.
OET and the TV Answer people did a good job of responding to the suggestions along the way. I anticipate that the interference problems will not be problems by the time we're finished with this. So it's a good item. Thank you.
Mr. Barrett.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I support it, and I think it fits in the realm of your suggestion that we have an examination of all spectrum use.
Mr. Duggan.
I think all of you are to be praised, and I think the folks at TV Answer are to be praised. It's wonderful to see the future happening here and to have a little role in it, and I'm happy to support this item.
Thank you. Well, if there's no more discussion, let's move to a vote on this item. All in favor of adopting the notice of proposed rulemaking to amend parts 0, 1, 2, and 95 of the rules, please signify by saying aye. 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 All opposed, nay. Item carries. Our fourth item involves a proposed amendment of our rules governing use of high frequency.
You know, the IVDS allocation, remarkable, by the way, that TV Answer got an allocation from the FCC for the 0.5 megahertz. And credit Mark Fowler and others for making that possible.
The Association of Maximum.
But it seemed to me that the FCC was not going to give this spectrum to TV Answer exclusively.
The tension grew in terms of the business model. The role of TV Answer, what would be the role of the cable company owning the pathway and controlling the pathway? It was not a very healthy situation in terms of being able to negotiate a good deal.
One of the things that marked the goal is to bring Hewlett-Packard aboard to manufacture the boxes in a way that allows to grow together nationally very quickly. A big corporation in manufacturing was needed. And at the same time, we need to build cell sites all over the country to put our repeaters. Another big company needed. You need a manufacturing plant that can build millions of boxes. Okay, Hewlett-Packard is good for that. In order to get Hewlett-Packard, I need to get a board member of Hewlett-Packard, be member of my company, as a way to get there.
Well, the TV set you are watching at this very moment could get a lot smarter by this time next year. Palo Alto's Hewlett-Packard is building a new add-on device that will allow any television to become a state-of-the-art interactive TV.
The Reston-based TV Answer Incorporated has signed a deal with Hewlett-Packard to make the box that consumers will need for its interactive television service. With this up to $700 box that connects to your TV set, you will be able to order groceries, pay bills, and more.
As with any new technology, there are probably more questions than answers right now. For example, will consumers be willing to spend the estimated $300 to $700 to buy this equipment? Will it cost you anything in order to participate in an interactive survey? And perhaps most important of all, will programmers be willing to create programs that are truly interactive?
The interactive devices will be manufactured at Hewlett-Packard's Roseville plant, and they will be available by Christmas or early next year.
In a perfect world, you would develop your product, test it, make sure it works, and then release it to the public and make your money. Nothing ever works that way.
And this venture itself perhaps was the first venture in the United States that was run as 100% risk. Here we're talking about a group of angel investors willing to invest $100 million. I mean, it's a totally different animal. Never in the history in the United States, a group of investors willing to risk money. They are risk averse. I talk with all the government officials related to cable or to broadcast industry. They want return of every dollar they put in an ad, in a camera, and everything that they invest need to be with a plan that they will get more money that they invest. We don't hire you as advisors. We need you because you have the money. You have money to take the risk in a venture like this. And they accept that. If they don't agree with something, they can cut, say no more money, and the company dies. But once the money is in my hands, they don't have anything to say with that.
We've assembled a state-of-the-art facility here in our 25,000 square foot headquarters building in Reston, Virginia. After years of testing and product development, TV Answer is ready to begin broadcasting in 1991. Years of program design and development are paying off in this room. Interactive operators monitor 2 satellite network signals. Take a cable shopping network. With TV Answer, the subscriber orders a product on a channel through an on-air screen order form created here and sent to him in seconds. No need to write down complicated product code numbers. No need to try to get through to the 800 number. No lengthy credit checks.
We were introduced to Fernando by Mark Fowler, ex-chairman of the FCC. I did the economic and market analysis and helped Larry make the pitch itself to the investors.
Los inversionistas de TV Answer habían invertido cerca de $100 millones ya al proyecto. Y en ese entonces, vamos a decir, no tengo los números exactos, pero haz de cuenta que la acción costaba $2 para los inversionistas. Y con la entrada posible de entrada de HP, la acción se iba a más de $20. Y eso nada más directamente haciendo una ecuación directa de la acción.
As a consultant, you're often hired to tell the client what they want to hear.
On the other hand, he used Jim and me as I think a personal and professional sounding board. He'd have these people assembled around him, and they were bright people, don't get me wrong, but they were telling Fernando what he wanted to hear. They weren't coming up with any applications that Fernando hadn't thought of himself, and they didn't challenge him when he did. And sometimes they could take advantage of him because they said, oh no, Fernando, this is not the way we do things in the United States. Well, yeah, it's not done this way in the United States because nobody's ever come up with something like Fernando came up with before, okay?
I think people at Hewlett-Packard were incompetent. I think they were arrogant, and we proved them wrong many times because in the end, they were exposed just to very thin areas. The company is very competent, but some of the people we were dealing with, they just happened to be in positions that allow them to be corporate animals. And some of them were very astute to survive the corporate hierarchy.
Yo empecé a ver una desviación del objetivo de la empresa. Había un vicepresidente que se llamaba Rick Miller.
The FCC's ruling today really is a vote of confidence in TV Answer's technology.
Richard Miller, más para darte un poquito de contexto, él era el brazo derecho de Oliver North. Él estuvo metido en el tema de los Irán Contras de Nicaragua, que fue el que, junto con la CIA, vendían droga en Estados Unidos para comprar armas y luego esas armas se les daban. Y mi punto de eso es, si este cuate está dispuesto a traicionar a su país, güey, pues con la mano en la cintura te va a traicionar en el primer momento, güey. Entonces ahí empezaron nuestras diferencias entre Fernando y yo. Yo te podría decir, en mi opinión, el que orquestó mucho de la caída de Fernando, pues fue Richard Miller.
Mark, head of FCC. Jim Miller had been the head of OMB. Jay Keyworth was the chief science advisor to President Reagan and was on the HP board. All these people had great Washington credentials. And by the way, Fernando knew that they were door openers. He knew that by having their names, they could open doors because they knew people and nobody would refuse a meeting with them. But on the other hand, that didn't mean they were in a good position to evaluate the business or to contribute to it in any material way, other than making introductions to people who could finance the future operation and bring it to market.
If Hewlett-Packard had started it from the beginning, then it might be in alignment. But if you have Hewlett-Packard coming in after the fact and trying to change the culture and make everything the Hewlett-Packard way, then it's difficult.
And Fernando, did things on whim. He would place ads spontaneously in the Wall Street Journal and other such places. He drove them nuts. He didn't have the temperament that they look for in a CEO. He was too unpredictable.
Was it a distraction? Yes. It's distracting to do the marketing at the same time, but in a way you need the marketing because you also need to continue the financing. And the financing comes with the buzz and the interest and the possibilities. It was a lot of distraction. It was a lot.
You want the final chapter, what happened with TV Answer? I bring Hewlett-Packard, and after that I want to bring IBM, and that was a short circuit by the board member that we shared with Hewlett-Packard. He was a total destroyer of the whole thing. He made a scene about bringing IBM. The shareholders now present, because at that time I have really company with real majority shareholders, they say, you must resign. This is bad. By the way, they control without even investment, because it's a big company, they control your moves from now on. They suggest you need to put this CEO in order to make it happen, and they put the wrong CEO after me. Obviously, the consequence were they want to crash the company in pieces in front of me because I control the oxygen of the company. If they don't get this contract, I threw to bankruptcy. This contract was in the court for 5 years after that. I get my freedom. I can invent things that are my own. It's not part of my estate. Bankruptcy was destroyed. It's a total collapse. They deserve what they get because the critical decision was made by my shareholders. Así de fácil.
Si tú me dijeras cuál fue realmente el problema, fue pues una descoordinación entre los dueños de la empresa, dentro de los cuales pues estaba Fernando, ¿verdad?
I think Hewlett-Packard, if in a very cynic kind of way, if I think of it, may have thought that they could have their cake and eat it too. Why not? Let's extract whatever we can from the founders, from the technical contributors, and let's feed our story to the board to fit our interest.
On the one hand, the company couldn't exist without him because everything in that company was generated by him singularly. Let me give him full credit for this. It was all out of his own head, period, with barring nothing. He didn't ask for approval. He just went and did things. And that kind of disruption is totally painful to a corporate executive who has to explain this to his management and his board. How did you let this happen? So it was very uncomfortable. And so I think that's also why they forced his resignation.
Certainly, there have been removals of chief executives. I've seen that a couple of times. So it's not unheard of that the board will remove the chief executive. The ones with power will basically do what they want to do, unless there's a contract to the contrary. If they have the power to remove the CEO, no matter what his contribution is or was, I think they'll do it. Whether that's right or wrong doesn't enter into the calculation, I don't think.
I call it the takeover. The takeover, when they remove the Morales family and extended family, was devastating. And it left a lot of us in a sort of catch-22 situation.
For a startup, that's the end, because the whole concept was his idea. And for the founder and the manufacturer to be ousted, that's the whole guts. That's everything.
The board decided that HP was the salvation. The moment they removed Fernando, they removed the center of gravity. Everybody else dispersed.
And what did they do? They brought in somebody who was, I don't know how else to say it, plain vanilla, corporate executive, somebody they could trust, had no ideas, and he was bringing that skill set to a company that was not a big company and had not succeeded yet. Afterwards, he tried to find all kinds of schemes where he could retake the company from HP and from the investors, and frankly, he didn't have a chance. He tried to get people to invest in a lawsuit, to actually put money behind the lawsuit. And again, he was ahead of his time, because today there's an industry out there. People are investing in my business, investing in patent infringement suits all the time.
Fernando was the driving force, and all of the infighting seemed to me to really do away with the chances of making that happen. And so I wasn't aware of what their goals were. It just didn't seem to make any sense to me.
Si tú te fijas ahí, la compañía siguió por mucho tiempo. O sea, primero como TV Answer, luego pasó a Ion, se llamó. Y ahorita, pues uno de los que era capitalistas, pues maneja un porcentaje muy alto de las patentes que tenía TV Answer y pues se dedica a explotarlas, ¿verdad?
It was never the same. I mean, at that point, the passion and the interest was gone.
And the whole organization became different. The culture of the organization, the excitement, the momentum, the teamwork, we're all in this together was gone. And it was just everybody just sort of jumping over everybody else to get as high as they could. That was my experience. I didn't move on. I got laid off. It was all I was doing for the last 5 years. That was my experience. It was my first job out of college. That's all I knew how to do.
And hard to imagine for me that happened. Of course, as a closing event of that, I don't know if they forgive me or not for my participation, but I forgive everybody. I really learn from everybody. Shareholders, lawyers, everybody that participated in this venture was a great element for my life and my growth. And I forgive everyone practically since the beginning. And I recall people very close to me that say, you cannot forgive what they did to you. Yes, I can. Because if you don't forgive, you are carrying the problem. I know. I analyze that. Okay, move ahead.
Lo que vivimos en TV Answer. Fue una desgracia que pues, los accionistas no se pudieron poner de acuerdo y se perdió. Pero pues bueno, la vida no siempre es tan transparente como quisiéramos. Y luego pues el grupo pues, básicamente pues, nos quedamos medio entrampados ahí en esa conversación del pleito, ¿verdad? Yo creo que yo fui el primero que me regresé de Estados Unidos, de todos. O sea, bueno, tu papá se quedó allá, Fernando también se quedó allá. Mi hermano Fernando tarde o temprano pues se regresó, ¿verdad? Nos pudimos haber montado sobre la ola del internet cuando nació, pero pues como pues nos desconectamos, ¿verdad? Entonces, o seguimos atrapados en el tema histórico, no avanzamos en lo que deberíamos haber avanzado.
And in retrospect, it was exceptionally good. So good that I find difficult to explain to my own sons what was actually accomplished before they see it in a device like this. Before anybody knew that this was going to happen, the same concept existed in a consumer device. Maybe it was not portable, but it provided what television, smart TVs do today.
When we were talking about interactivity, people didn't have a concept of what that really meant. That type of interactivity is available now in different forms. It just didn't come through with TV Answer.
Technology is fleeting, it moves fast. And if you don't grab your window, the window passes you by. That's what happens.
The only screen that everybody had at the time was the TV. All the time that you see that, and you see our approach to interactivity, and see a cellular phone now, it's a copy of that. That's why all these companies need to deal with the TV Answer patents. The cellular company was designed for voice communication. They get into data because of us in the first place. But now you have a screen in a phone. Let's bring those things that we know the people want, because we prove the people want it. We are the DNA of all this. Obviously, somebody else can say, don't be crazy, you don't exist, this thing will be in the same places. Perhaps it's right. Somebody else, another guy, if it's not me, will be the one that triggered the event. Somebody need to do that. I was at the time, and I was that guy. That's all.
No lo has visto, se sigue viendo. ¿Va a decir y luego?
Oye, si ven, yo te voy a decir un secretito.
La cámara se la voy a enseñar a Juanito, Gustavo.
Te voy a decir un secretito, ven.
I got you taking me.
Moni no pudiste la imagínate Moni comprándote la casita. O estaba en la casita que Moni. ¿Quién te la regaló?
Mira la patilla.
Mira, Fer.
Mira, lo más allá, foto, mira, allá.
Mira. Es que ese es el que le está distrayendo. Mira allá, Fer.
Mira acá, mira.
Si tú me dices, oye, estoy súper orgulloso de haber trabajado en TV Answer, sí, o sea, es parte todavía de mí. Yo por ahí tengo todavía el video de TV Answer, ese de las bolitas, porque cuando me dice la raza, oye, ¿qué hacías, güey? Y les pongo esto y dicen, cabrón, ya andaban haciendo eso en el 88, güey, tan cabrones, ¿no?
You know, finding a person of Fernando's brain and mind and creativity is very, very, very rare. You don't learn it. You are born that way, or you are that way in some respects.
My oldest daughter says she's never seen anybody like him, nobody that inventive or creative. So we still talk about it.
In the case of TV Answer, Fernando was not only the brains, was also the heart. When they removed him from that position, the company lost both, which is a shame because it was a great project. I'm very proud to have been part of it.
To see TV Answer go from 20 employees to over 300 employees, to see it on TV, the newspapers, no. I have not had that satisfaction in any of my other jobs.
I just remember that I was employee number 12. It was indicative of just how early I got there, you know. I just feel like it was an incredible opportunity. It was the highlight of my career. And I just want to thank the Morales family for having me and choosing me and hiring me and giving me such an incredibly wonderful experience. It's something I will never forget. And it's the highlight of my career.
I was very lucky to be around people who were so brilliant. It was my ability to work with all of them. I think that was my contribution. The whole interaction I had professionally and personally, everybody from the Morales and Prieto family, and Fernando Prieto is no longer with us, Raúl, Juan Bosco, Fernando, who I saw not too long ago. And when I married my wife also, I had the opportunity to work there.
All the things that I dream about in TV Answer and the day after bankruptcy are occurring. Simple as that. It was also a very interesting challenge for me to leave all this experience and leave my following inventions after that they claim that my following invention immediately after bankruptcy is the one that caused the company to collapse because it was a better and easy way to do the same thing.
We have a device called Audio Link. The device interfaces with your television set or radio.
But with all this, it's more important now the data, the video, all the frequencies that we ask, interactive video and data services really describe a cell phone today. The vision that I had 50 years ago are real now in my pocket. And I don't want to take credit for anybody that make it. They have their own challenge, their own goals. That telephone have more than 1,000 patents that are not mine, but have essential ones that were inspired by the ones that we create. And that feels great, even when you don't profit for any of that. It's a way to see in your life things that happen because something that you did that was good. And all good produce some good results.